Hello everyone, Cutting Tool Designer here. Welcome to part 31 of the restoration of the South Bend Heavy Tin Lathe. Now today, we're going to get the rest of this underdrive taken apart. So bear with me a second and I'll show you what I ran into, what we're going to have to do. So, 1 second, I'll be right back. Okay, well, finally got the taper pin out. Heated this pulley up, beat on, and it would not come loose. So ended up having to drill through it. I'll have to get a new one to replace this one. So wasn't fun, but we got that loose. Would recommend it if you have to do this yourself. Get yourself an 1/8 inch bit that's 6 inches overall so that we can reach in there, and you'll still have to drill it from both sides. But finally got that out. This piece here for the raising and lowering, there's a set screw in here which allows you to remove this piece here. So this piece then can just come out. And then there's a shaft right here. It's got a little dimple in it for the set screw. Then it just fits in here. A little bit of a counter bore. And that's the other part of the pivot point, which connects to the end of this. So we got that out. And this has a taper pin in it also. And that should allow you to take the handle off. I've already undid the set screw for this collar, which kind of keeps it in alignment. I still haven't been able to find where the taper pin is on the handle yet. So let's go ahead and tap this pin out. Get the right size here so we don't. That's probably too big. Take the next size down. And see if we can get the rest of this pin out. It's pretty much moving through. A little awkward to hold when you got a bad arm anyways. That wasn't the pin, that was a wrench. It's just about out. Almost. Pretty close, right at the edge. Alright. Well, there it is there. Not quite the whole way out. Let's see if I got something a little longer to finish it off. Just take an Allen wrench and see if we can tap the rest of it out. No, but it should hopefully come off the handle now, so let's try it. Got this collar slipping, moving off the collar. But not there. Yeah, I thought it was going to come out pretty easily, but I guess it's not. So let's see if we can find something. Don't worry, these were a cheap set. Something a little longer maybe to finish that off with. There we go. Let's see if that gets it out. And I didn't want to have happen to have fly across the So anyways, I'll have to go find that pin now. Paint coming off there. So I still gotta get this off the rest of the way. It's just peeling the paint off the shaft. It's coming off. There we go. Alright, so that piece is off. And then this should come out. There we go. And then we'll work on getting that collar off and getting the pin out of there. And has a dimple right there. Looks like there might be something like a pin in there. I haven't cleaned it off with the pin off, but that would be bad because there's no way to get at it from the other side. So I hope it's not a blind pin. Normally I put down through the side here. I thought I could make an outline for one here, but we may have to heat it up and try it separately. So anyways, handle's off. And we'll finish disassembling that some other time. Now, I loosened this collar up and took the set screw out over here for this shaft. So this should now tap off, and that'll leave this upper mount free of any other components. So let's see if we can finish. Oh no, gonna have to take this pulley off next. Before we do that, one of the things I did do is go ahead and clean up all the shafting down here all the way up, because this eventually has to slide off. And I polished these up a little bit. And what I did there was I put the nut on the end of the shaft and I used the drill to spin this, and just took some 600 grit paper and some Scotch-Brite and just kind of cleaned this up a little bit while it was on here and I could spin it. So what we want to do next then is go ahead and get this pulley pulled off. Get it over the side so it's free. Now, what you want to make sure here is this is a bit of a press fit on here. You don't want to use a big puller and pull from the outside. This is a fairly fragile wheel, and if you don't believe me, ask Brad Jacob when he took one of these off and he used the puller on the outside and ended up with a bunch of pieces, meaning the outside hub, the inner hub, and a whole bunch of wheel spokes, all separated. So these will break if you put a lot of pressure on them. So I've just got a puller here. We're going to go to the inside hub. I've already started this, so I know it's coming off fairly free. So where did I put that wrench I just had? 9/16. I just had that, baby. Where'd it go? Oh, if you can't find your center punch, here's another thing, your welding hammer for breaking off the flux. This pointing end actually makes a good center pointer. 11/16. Yeah, I just had it. It's a 5/8 wrench. Where did I put it? Is it underneath? Crapola. I'll find it after I don't need it no more. So anyways, we'll just use the crescent wrench and make sure these are in there. Get a little better hold on it there. Some tension on it. No, that was that wrench that fell on the floor. So here we are. Here's the wrench. Try and get this to tighten up without those popping off. I had this on here pretty good before. Of course, camera's running now. These can be fun. You need 3 hands to do these sometimes. Alright, let's see if we can get some tension on here without it coming off. Okay. Oops. Alright. It was coming off. So I dropped it again. Should hold on to this so it doesn't slide off. But it's coming. Alright, well it is coming off. So let me pause you for a second, go ahead and get this off the rest of the way. Because that shaft is still, you know, quite a bit in there yet. So hang on one second, I'll come back after I get this off. Okay, yeah, got it off. So there's our pulley, drive pulley. Set that out of the way. Okay, now we can get this shaft off. So we'll go ahead and see if we can finish tapping that off the rest of the way. So we got that collar here to contend with. Okay, what we'll do is I'll work on getting this collar off too here, and then finish tapping this out, and be back at you in just a minute. It's going to take a few minutes to get this done, so hang on one second. Alrighty then, yeah, that was a lot of fun. And pound that out completely to get the collar off. Of course, we'll get these all cleaned up. Looks like the collar doesn't have a dimple there for this set screw. So that means that was probably hung on up there a little bit, but managed to tap it all the way through to the point where this fell off, and we got the shaft. So this piece, other than these are your stop adjustments for when you pull it up and pull it down to lock it. Just a set screw and a lock nut to adjust your depth, and we can take those out. I'll get the nuts off some other time. Well, that one's coming off. And let's grab a screwdriver. Just had one here. So we'll go ahead and get this out. We'll get these all cleaned up and ready to go back in when we're done cleaning and repainting this. This looks like it only has the original primer on it. For the most part, there's a little bit of gray. That was probably on there from some spray paint. from the base. There's some primer here on this edge, so this was painted after it was assembled. Get this out of here, come on. Alright, put that in there. The other one fell off in the trailer someplace, so we get this out of the way. Upper base needs a good cleaning, and then we'll strip her down and get it painted. Now this here had a pin in it. It's in here, yeah. I had to heat this up, but after I did, the pin did come out. So I need to take this off. Lower adjustment nut, and then I can take this nut off. And then we should be able to hopefully get this all on there tight. Threads got gook and stuff on them. So this has a ball on it, so let's see if I can get this. Yeah, that's going to be a bugger. So let's drop down in this hole and see if we can get past the rough spots on the thread here. If we can hold on to things, that would be nice. So hopefully we'll get down to a spot where it will unscrew fairly easily by hand, hopefully. Enough that I can get it past that hole for the pin. Well, it's real tight there. So this might be real fun. So I might have to break you off camera here again. Yeah, it's going to take some buggering around. Now this assembly comes apart. We have to get this pin out. Then this inner piece should be able to come out. I'm not sure how tight it's going to be. We can try and see if we can get it. Let's just screw this down so we don't put too much tension on this screw. Now there's supposed to be another retaining spring in here for lockdown. It was not with the machine. It clips over here. Again, there's a cotter pin and a washer to hold the spring in place, and then it hooks up on the top of the housing. So it was missing. I don't have it. Let's get one of the large pin drivers. See if we can tap this without a whole lot of effort. Oh yeah, okay. Okay, so that pin's out. But this probably won't come apart pretty easy. Yeah, maybe it doesn't come apart. I'm thinking it does. I'll have to check. Because you have to do that to get this through ball-headed screw in there. And so I might have to heat that up and maybe put it on the press and use the ball to press this piece out. I bet that's what we're going to have to do. So I got to get down to where I can get this off the rest of the way. Actually, this will probably screw down to the point where I can do it here. So let's see if that works. There we go. Bang, lots of noise. What size is that? Yes. Stick with this. lot of goop in those threads to clean out. Okay, so this takes us down to where this is now done. Put that over there. Loosen this up. Okay, so hopefully we can unscrew this the rest of the way. Okay, threads are getting tight right in there. Might have to gently do it with a pair of pliers. Okay. So let's do this. I don't want to put, we'll go to the threads all the way to the top. Gently just see if we can get this to come out the rest of the way. Shouldn't hurt up here if I boogie these threads a little bit, and it's not really giving me a lot of fit. Because you probably will never have it down that far. And if necessary, I can chase them a little bit with the dye, which you'll probably want to do anyways. Sorry if this video is getting a little long, but I wanted to show you what you're running into. Alright, should be getting close to being able to get this out fairly easy. It's almost out the bottom. And again, I'm not putting a lot of pressure on this with my hand on the pliers. It's pretty easy actually right now, so let's see. A little greasy. Alright, well, yeah, it looks like this was pressed in. So we'll probably see if maybe we can get some nuts and so forth on here, set it in a press and take it apart. Don't necessarily have to, but I like to get that all cleaned out inside and get some new grease and stuff in there. Actually, it's supposed to be oiled. There's an oil hole there to drip oil down in there. So I'd like to take that apart and take any grease out, because it probably feels like it was greased. Move all this other stuff out of the way, and oh yeah, that 1/8 inch drill bit, be careful, it breaks. Luckily I got it out. Alright, so now we're just down to the cone pulley. I'm going to finish that out with a 3/8. We got to get all these nuts off, these screws, and there's a lock washer on there too. There's a nut, screw out lock washer, screw. Now I kind of already loosened these up already once before, so I know that none of them are going to be stuck. So we'll just continue to take these off real quick, and this will loosen the bearing housings. Okay. Da 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 da. Let's see if this will come off now. Almost. Nut, screw, washer, other side, rinse and repeat. Screw, washer, nut. Let's get this one on the bottom. Oh, I just tightened it up. Helps to do it the right direction, then. Loose there. Yeah, luckily none of these are binding. Sometimes they get, if you put too much tension and pressure on them, you distort the threads. And washer. Okay, looks good. Nope, dropped that one. Yeah, well, screw, washer, nut. Now I gotta get this nut off the end that I was using to turn this with, because I believe this can press out this bearing a little bit. So we got that off. This bearing retainer cover off. Bearing has to come out that way. Bearing has to come off that way. Let's see if we can tap this out a little bit. Actually, let's put that screw or nut back on and use it as a surface. Bearings aren't bad. They do have some noise. So I was pretty certain from what I read that this has to come off by coming back out this way. Of course, I try to clean this shaft up as much as possible. And push it through this bearing enough so that this end can come out, and then you pull it out this way. So we'll see what happens. Moving a little bit. I'm just wondering if that's the right direction or not. Because this tensions this bearing, the pulley doesn't ride on that. All right. Maybe we have to try and pop that bearing out from the backside. See what this does. Yep, that ain't doing it.
Well, maybe I should go read the book again, huh?
Yeah, let's do that. Before we do anything to this shaft, and don't worry about the bearings because I'll probably replace them. So let me take another look at that and we'll come back at you. So bear with me a few minutes. Sorry about that. We'll figure it out and come back at you. 1 second. Okay, welcome back. Well, according to the book, and I have this book here that I got off of a gentleman on eBay. A lot of people buy these, very, very informative. However, there are some differences in this assembly, especially. compared to the ones that are in the book, because they're for the cast iron bases, whereas this is a table housing. So anyways, a quick review is that these bearings both push out this way. They said it should tap out. If not, put it in an arbor press and press it out. I put both nuts on the end and just hit it with a brass hammer aggressively, but not overly aggressively, and the bearings started coming out eventually. Now they don't sound too good now. Then the next step it says to go ahead and you have to remove this bearing with a puller. So let's see what we can do there. It's going to take a little bit to get this adjusted probably. Let's see if I can even get to it from there. I might have to switch this. I'm going to have to probably switch this around. So let me switch that around and get this bearing off, and then we can lift this assembly out this way. So hang on a second and we'll be back after I get this bearing off. Okay, got it out. Yeah, basically once those are out like that, then you can pull this back. Well, I had to use a puller and take the bearing off this end, and you can pull this out. Then you have to use a puller to get the bearing off the other end, because they're may have spun pretty good before, but it's got a lot of noise in it now. This one on the outside was got crushed a little bit. It really was on there. So hopefully the new bearings won't be so bad. But we're just about done. That's the lower housing. Everything's off of it now. The only thing left is we got to take these two set screws out that hold this cone pulley on this shaft, and then get this shaft off. I have a feeling we're going to have to press it out. We'll see. There's a lock nut on here. It's like 11/16, kind of hard to get at. And then there's a set screw. There's two set screws, and there's dimples on this shaft. So luckily I've already got these broke loose, and I'm just going to take the whole assembly out. Set screw and lock nut. So when you reassemble this, you tighten up the set screw, then you lock the nut on it to keep it from coming loose. Okay, so we'll work on that when we get to that point. Now the question is, can we get this baby out just by tapping on it, or am I going to have to put it on the press? So let's get back to, let's throw these nuts back on again and see if we can tap this a little bit or not. If not, then we're going to mount it up on the arbor press. So let's just put these on here and see if we get any movement. And so a little bit of movement going on, not a whole lot. Again, I tried to clean these shafts up as much as possible. Yeah, it's not too much. All right, let's get you set up on the arbor press and get this shaft pressed out. So hang on one second and we'll be right back. Okay, well, got it on the arbor press here. Pretty much got a lot of it already pressed down. Might have to get an adapter to put in there, but it seems to be to a spot now where it seems pretty loose. Did take a couple of pumps on high pressure to get it to break free, but it's coming down. Might be able to tap it out the rest of the way without getting an adapter on here. Okay, and I'm about to the point where those nuts are now in the way. So let's just lift this out of the way. Take those nuts off and see if maybe we can tap it out the rest of the way with something. I have to move it out, but get the nuts off. I have to chase the threads on that. Okay. First off, we'll just kind of tap on it. And away it went. Yeah, look, it's a lot of corrosion on the inside there where that pulley was. Alright. And there's a dimple, and there's a dimple. That's where those set screws have to lift. Okay. Let's get it back to the bench here. Well, this has been lots of fun. So, at least it's a good learning experience for everybody out there that wants to disassemble one of these babies. Hopefully you have all the right equipment. Of course, there's that shaft again. And it definitely is going to have to be cleaned up. Okay, and we need new bearings. Let's see if I can read what it says on here. Yeah, I'll probably have to clean them up in order to get a reading off of what the bearing number is. Of course, we'll follow up with you when we go to reassemble. We'll get new bearings. Yeah. Looks like new departure, maybe. 88502 maybe. I'll have to look at this under a little bit of magnification. Eyes aren't what they used to be. Okay, well, the only thing left is to get this collar off, which I'll take care of that some other time, and then taking a look at trying to find out if there's a pin in here and where it's at, so I can get it out, hopefully. Really, all in all, I've ended up not having to replace any pins, except I'm going to have to replace the one pin in this assembly. Yeah, I'm going to have to strip this, clean this up and strip it down and see if I can come up with whether there's a pin in there or not. So, and I might even pop this handle off on the press just to make it easier to clean up. Hopefully I can get this handle off. This just needs tapped off. We can get that off, or even just pressed off real easy. And that's it for the disassembly of the underdrive. Well, I appreciate it. I know this is a long video. I appreciate everybody watching. Hang on a second. We'll be right back. Alright, everyone. Well, that's going to wrap up episode 31. It's hard to believe this is how many videos I've done on this. There's a lot of time. I know the videos are long. But my goal is, I hope long term, that anybody wants to tackle something like this, it gives you a good idea of what you're facing and the amount of time that it's going to face you to do it. I only have, maybe a half a dozen hours in an entire weekend to be out here in the shop and working on stuff right now with everything else going on. I do have some vacation time coming up here, middle of December. Be off for the rest of the year, thank God. Need some time off. And hopefully we'll get a lot more done out here, including the lathe, but some other stuff that's going on. And we'll keep pegging away at it. So for all those that stop in, do watch. Again, we're trying to build this for long term. Other people can come back and review this if they ever get into wanting to do something like this. I like to try and keep things as in-depth as possible without being outrageously boring. So, appreciate you stopping by. If you like what you see, please subscribe. Click on the little bell to get notifications whenever I post a new video. I appreciate all those that have subscribed greatly. I mean, I'm over 2,200 subscribers, which can't believe I'm even that much, but I appreciate everybody that's out there that does stop by and watch, whether you're subscribed or not. So, until next time, everyone, and I'm not sure what we're doing next, other than I got a lot of cleaning of parts to do and stuff like that, but I got to get the base cleaned up and so forth. I don't know how much we'll spend on that. That's not a whole lot to it. But I got some other parts here. I got the steady rest, I got the follower, I got the 4-jaw chuck, some other odds and ends stuff. I got the carriage stop, adjustable carriage stop, things like that we'll go through and review at some point too here in the future. So then hopefully by the end of the year, I'll be at the point where we can start putting this back together. Again, thanks for stopping by, everyone. Everybody out there, take care.